There's the track, Rhonda. There's no dirt to get in it.
Capron,
Oh, here,
Gretkin.
okay.
Here.
Yeah,
Moore.
I mean, like, you know, snow and stuff?
Well, this,
Redding,
here.
Scott,
Here. It's a snowplow clears it because the track's below ground.
Oh, I see, okay.
I make a motion, we go into closed session to discuss strategy with counsel about matters where litigation is imminent because of public disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the city in that litigation. I'll move that. I moved it already.
Second.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Redding,
Aye.
Scott,
All right.
Capron,
Aye.
I make a motion, we go into closed session, the city council discuss the purchase of sale or particular real estate where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the city would have to pay for that property, reduce the price the city would receive for that property.
Second.
Was it moved?
Redding,
Okay. Aye.
Scott,
All right?
Capron,
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye. I didn't hear you say a move on that.
Capron. Capron.
Here.
Gretkin.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Radig.
Here.
Scott.
Here. Can we stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and the folks from Council on Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence meet me here. Mike, with the podium. You can tell the council follows your orders.
What happened to you?
Hey, he's got a sport coat.
This time my wife, it has to be something like, I don't know, I haven't worn one, and I said, even when I go, I don't want one on then either, okay?
I'm teasing you.
So,
He
but
does
we do
have a sport coat.
proclamation for you today, and it reads, whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all ages, incomes, levels, lifestyles, and sexes, and in fact, is probably affecting someone you know, and every 9 seconds, someone experiences a crime of domestic violence. Whereas 1 in 3 women will be a victim of violence in her lifetime, domestic violence violates an individual's human rights by destroying dignity, security, and self-worth due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control or abuse. CSADV works every day to help these acts of violence and to help rebuild the lives of survivors. And whereas in Siouxland, the Council on Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence is available 24 hours a day, and last year responded to 1,821 unduplicated victims, providing 11,901 nights of shelter to 358 women and 349 children fleeing domestic abuse, and despite high census, no one is in an unsafe situation was turned away. I think what people need to understand, you could say 1,821 doesn't mean much. That's 5 a day, which is really an indictment on our community, unfortunately. Whereas the impact of domestic violence affects these atrocious crimes, and assure funding is continuously available to provide these life-saving services. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2016 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Sioux City, and urge all our citizens to actively participate in the scheduled events and programs, and to think about the fact that it is someone you know. Let me tell you firstly, thank you for and I'm speaking on behalf of council as well, but
Okay.
personally, what a great job you do, and say a few words if you will.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you, those of you who wore your purple ties in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And unfortunately, we are again calling attention to Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have a high incidence of domestic violence in our community, in our state, in our nation, and it does not seem to be going down. When you look at the statistics that Mayor Scott read, our shelter has been continually at very high census all year long. When I mean high census, we have 12 bedrooms, and most of those bedrooms are full every day of the year. And in addition to that, we often have survivors and their children in hotel rooms in our community. And that does not consider those individuals who have chosen to remain silent about what's happening in their household. And beyond those that come to shelter, there are countless numbers that come to us for advocacy, counseling, and information about the resources available in our community. So we are definitely a lifeline for many, many individuals in our community. And I thank you for your support and recognizing the work that we do.
And they make the checks out if they want to CSADV.
That's
Where do
correct.
they mail them to?
That's correct.
What's the address?
Box 1565. It's always a good day when something comes in the mail.
51102.
That's right.
Just in case, did you write that down, Bob? Just in case you have a little year-end giving or anything?
And you know, Wednesday, we're having a great social
I
at
see that.
Minerva's. You can join us for some conversation there. Hope to see you.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you for your good
Thank
work.
you. Keep up the good work. We'll move to items 2 through 9C, which are the consent agenda. If you want to speak on an item, please come forward as I read it. You can consider it passed unanimously unless a council member asks for a separate vote. State your name and address when you come forward so that we can use it for the record. The same thing under citizen concerns. You can fill out a card or just come up at the end. When I call for citizen concerns, be sure and state your name and address again at that time. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
2 is the reading of the city council minutes of September 26 and 28, 2016. 3 is a resolution adopting the 2016 third quarter supplement to the municipal code covering through ordinance 2016-0838. 4 is a motion approving the Human Rights Commission FY 2016 annual report.
Mayor, on that, Karen, I just want to thank you for getting the number of open cases closed timely. I don't have the stats in front of me, but it seemed like you really worked hard to close many of the open cases.
Sure, I will pass that along to my staff. Thank you.
Yes, that's good work, because as you've said before, the timeliness of that with witnesses and all that go into the case, it's very important. Time is of the essence. So thank you for your good work in that regard.
Thank you, sir.
5 are actions relating to street closures. A is a resolution temporarily closing various streets on October 13, 2016 to allow students to attend the Symphony Student Concert at the Orpheum Theater. B is a resolution temporarily closing various streets on February 2, 2017 to allow students to attend the Symphony Student Theater. 6 are actions relating to agreements and contract. A is a resolution approving work order number 27 with RS&H Iowa in connection with the reconstruction of the Taxiway A North Connector project at the airport. B is a resolution approving change order number 2 with I&A Construction in connection with the 2016 annual Storm Inlet project. C is a motion authorizing agreement from the Department of HUD for the Human Rights Commission. D is a resolution approving a consulting services agreement with Snyder and Associates for the traffic signal coordination project of Gordon Drive and Outer Drive corridors. E is a resolution approving a consulting services agreement with Snyder and Associates for the Gordon Drive and 158th Street traffic signal project. F is a resolution approving a contract to Knife River Midwest for the reconstruction of the Taxiway A North Connector project at the airport. 7 are actions authorizing the issuance of checks. A is a resolution approving settlement and payment of the Johnson's work compensation claim. B is a resolution authorizing final payment to Subservco for the I-29 water main crossing project. I need to abstain. 8 is an application for beer and liquor license. See the list and come forward if you have any questions. 9, a receipt of minutes. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Call the roll, please.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Redding,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
10 is a resolution approving a third amendment to the sewage treatment agreement with Dakota Dunes Community Improvement District. I'll move that.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Well, I have a question, and Nicole, probably you can answer it for me. When I read the agreement, on actually page 3 of the agreement, section 8, well, yeah, section 8, number 22, it talks about the need to recover, if Dunes needs to recover any portion of the reallocated flow or capacity, it will do so, the city will do so, and then it may require a partial or full reallocation that requires for planning and construction of improvements. And then again, it says the city will do so. And I'm trying to understand why the city would have to pay that if we were doing it for the Dakota Dunes. And it was for the purpose of increasing their allocation.
Councilmember Gretkin, maybe let's take a step back. I asked Mark to come up. He can
Okay.
describe what this item is and how it relates to the next item, where the reallocation to Sergeant Bluff.
To Sergeant Bluff?
Yeah.
Sure. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Mark Sims, Utilities Director. Just a brief history. Last fall, I think it was Sergeant Bluff came to us initially, and they wanted to have some additional flow allocation for our treatment facility in order to be able to certify a site for IEDA potential industry in their area. They wanted 500,000 gallons. At the time, we had some concerns about our capacity, some unanswered questions with DNR as to how they were rating our facility and what's available to be able to do that. Had a number of meetings, including meetings with all the sister cities on a couple of occasions down in the chamber basement to discuss this. And Dakota Dunes essentially came forward and said, we're not using our 3 million gallons. We don't anticipate using that 3 million. They honestly didn't want to give it up permanently, but they just don't envision growth that's going to get them there. And so they were willing to essentially reallocate or give back about half of that, or exactly half of that, the 1.5 million. But with the stipulation that we then, when necessary, reallocated that to the other sister cities for their use. And so that's how this entire thing came about. At this point, there would be no change, as we've described here in the RCA, no change to, I'm not sure that completely answers your question.
Well, no, I understand the reallocation of the 1.5 that Dakota Dunes is giving back. Okay, but we use that, and here now, down the road a year, 2 or 3, they say they want that back, or we need to reallocate, and we find out maybe we don't have the capacity to do that. We have to do it, and it sounds like to me that we have to pay for it. And if it's for their benefit, why would they not participate?
Well, they would participate in the payment of utility fees. They're allocated an amount, but they don't pay for it they don't use.
I understand that, but it's going to cost the city money to get in to make improvements, to maybe even additional construction to provide. It just didn't seem to make.
But that's reflective in all the sister city rates.
That if we
As you-
can't,
As you do capital projects, no matter whether it's water or sewer, and you are doing this with sister cities, they have to pay a pro rata in their rate for any.
okay, so then if we do have to make improvements and it costs the city, I wouldn't even know where to begin to guess.
Well, 100 million doesn't seem to buy much.
Would the rates, would the rates then go up?
Yes.
That they would have to pay for?
That's how it works today.
Okay, well, I think the rates have been pretty,
No, but that's how it works today. There's a capital portion in.
Yes,
in
and
the
that
rate.
has to be negotiated each time. We typically see that on the water side, but the drinking water side. But we have to negotiate with them what CIP projects are included in what they get benefit from.
Right.
okay.
But we haven't, but things that we have added, like odor control have not been added in there because of the last rate discussion was pre-odor control costs. Yeah, they haven't been added in because we haven't adjusted the rates. Right. They would be going forward.
Well, that's my understanding that they haven't adjusted the rates in a long time.
No, we have.
We have?
Yes.
Okay. If they're going to help pay for it, I'm okay.
Call the roll, please.
Redding.
Aye.
Scott.
Abstain.
Capron.
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
11 is a resolution approving an amendment and restated sewage treatment agreement with Sergeant Bluff.
I'll move it.
Second.
Call-
Scott.
Abstain.
Capron.
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Redding.
Aye.
12 is a resolution approving the fiscal year 2017 Historic Pearl Facade Improvement Program funding awards. I'll move it.
Second?
Call the roll,
Well,
please.
on this, I was going to ask about the 507 and 509, Douglas. Even on the assessor side, it shows that it's just 507.
Yes, Jill Waterside, Neighborhood Services Manager. That was a change that was put in place of our program by council back in June of 2015, which allowed for some more flexibility with regard to the definition of a parcel or an address. And so because of the configuration of those two buildings, they are allowed 2 awards at that location instead of the 1.
And Pearl still doesn't have the 10-year, they have to sign an agreement?
Yes, they do for a 5-year forgivable loan.
How much?
5-year.
And the others are 10 years?
The other facade programs are 5 currently. The only 10-year we have is our down payment assistance program and our phase 2 program.
Okay, so it's 5 years and they do have a second mortgage on their building.
Yes.
Any other questions? Any other concerns? Call the roll, please.
Capron,
Aye.
Gretkin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Raddick,
No.
Scott,
Aye. 13 is a resolution amending the West 7th Street Facade Improvement Program. I'll move it.
Second.
I have a question on this as well. And I just need some clarification, somebody to explain to me, but if I understand this correctly, going to get away from the 5-year forgivable loan altogether?
No. What this would do is it'd remove the 5-year mortgage and promissory note that's currently, that Jill just mentioned that we have on all our facade programs.
Yes, but they still have to pay then?
They would still be, they would have
What
to pay-
happens then?
They would
They'd have to
it
pay the
back.
balance. Okay.
However,
It
If we
wasn't,
remove this requirement, I don't know if we'd have the authority to do that. I guess that would be.
there would not be anything that would be recorded on the title of the property like we would have for normal security instruments, which is the mortgage and the promissory note that we currently have. So if a sale was effectuated and it went through, there isn't a guarantee that the city would be in line or have a recordable document which triggers repayment to the city.
so if the property owner didn't want to pay, they
Correct.
just walk away from it?
There's a higher probability that they would be able to walk away without the note and the mortgage in place.
I guess I don't understand the logic in doing this then.
Well, I have a conflict of interest. I'm abstaining on this item, Pete, but what I didn't consider when we approved this and what's come up with one of the property owners is they've owned the property for decades. And they're a sound business person that will pay all of their debts and wouldn't walk away after 5 years. And they're in that category of the generation, they just don't want to lean against their property at this point in time.
But I thought they were going to sign a promissory note personally. Not the case?
No, they'll sign the promissory note, they just don't want to put anything of record that would show a lien against their property after 90 years. They'll sign a note.
If there's a note in hand, but it's not recorded, it doesn't show up against the title search of the property.
No, I understand, but they're still got a personal guarantee as part of it.
You could have a separate personal guarantee that is signed, which isn't, I believe, currently done on these. I believe that most of these are business entities that are signing.
Yes, correct.
And there
But
isn't a
most
separate personal
people
guarantee.
that have a business that want to borrow money corporately get to sign personally. Well, I don't think I'm the only one in that position.
And that could be
I
something
believe
that
that there are
the
others
council.
out there. I know I'm not stellar credit, but I think there are lots of deals that have that provision.
And that could be something that direction could be given to staff to pursue, adding a personal guarantee
I think it's imperative.
requirement.
I mean, what would stop somebody from accepting the $120,000? They do the 25% match, so now you got a $150,000 improvement, but they get it done in 3 months and turn around and sell it and take all the profit and,
You would have the ability to initiate an action on the promissory note. However, you don't.
but right now, we're saying that's not going to be part of it if I vote for this.
Correct. There would be no security instruments in place, either recorded or unrecorded. That's currently what's up for vote today, is to remove that requirement entirely.
Call the roll, please.
Moore,
Abstain?
Redding,
No.
Scott,
Well, this is gonna go down then, because I own property there and I'm gonna abstain.
We can pass 2-1, can it?
Do we have, I'm sorry, Councilman Moore abstained for a conflict of interest, is that correct? The mayor is abstaining for a conflict of interest, then you would have a remaining 3-1, 2-1 vote.
Well, I don't know, but I thought you had to have three. Go ahead, then call the roll. Well, you look that up.
Aye.
Gretkin,
No.
No, that's a moot point. It fails. Okay. Citizen concerns. First, we have Mr. Taylor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Jeremy Taylor, 3034 Pierce Street, Chairman of the County Board of Supervisors. And I wanted to address the subject of a county-imposed minimum wage and remarks that were made about non-attendance at a forum by the majority of the supervisors. I think, council members, we can have a very healthy debate on raising wages in Woodbury County. Indeed, wages have risen in Sioux City to $18.42 on average the last 5 years through economic development and private industry. I commend all of you, each one of you, for your role in that. Typically, the Iowa League of Cities has chafed at counties imposing on the city and cities across. And so you have cities that have exempted themselves, University of Iowa and so on. It's rare to have a city request that the county take an imposition of a minimum wage. And I realize that that may or may not be the majority position, but I'm Councilmember Capron regarding my non-attendance at the forum. The forum was hosted by Morningside College Democrats, included State Representative Chris Hall, Supervisor Jackie Smith, and Councilmember Capron as the panelists. We found out about it 48 hours ahead of time. You can imagine, like many of you, whose public service I appreciate, you're very busy, and I was not able to attend. On social media, however, Ms. Capron called the majority of us racist, bigots, and idiots, and I'll...
Did I say a name?
It says, and I'll quote, George Boykin asked, way to go, Rhonda Capron, at least have a discussion. Did they come to the meeting? And nope, no show, which isn't a shock. What I really want to say, can't print idiots, racists, and bigots.
And was your
That's a
name
start.
mentioned?
No, I think it's
And was
obvious, though,
anybody
who
else's
was
name
being
mentioned?
spoken of, those who didn't attend. And so in the 3 minutes that I'm allotted, I appreciate it. The last time I approached your council was to commend you on being a home base Iowa community. I commended you on the wonderful things that you've done, and you have done some great things, including Seaboard and Triumph and historic economic development. I've also appreciated the relationship that we've had the last 22 months. Dan, you said it at Western Iowa Tech's 50th anniversary remarks to their staff. The county-city relationship has never been better. And I look forward to ways and partnerships that we can continue to grow, including the Ag Expo Center and ways that we can look at efficiencies. You may not know this, Sioux City is actually number 2 in the entire nation for Energy Star buildings. And you have some wonderful things I think that we can do together. However, my family and personally, it was uncalled for. My wife, you may or may not know, is from Vietnam. We speak a different language at home. We have mixed race children. I have been the butt at times of people who disparage those who are in interracial
Your name, Jeremy.
relationships.
I'm just telling you.
I think, and that's why.
I apologize if you think that I did, but I did not.
And I know we may have, I see another supervisor here, and so I just want to let you know that I hope that this little bump in the road is nothing to the continued promise that we have as a county and city. And I thank each of you, including you, Councilmember Capron, for your service. I know there's some long nights, and I know there's a lot of time away. So thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to address your council.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Next. I'm pretty much, this is Mark Munson, Box 565, Sergeant Bluff, Woodbury County Supervisor. We learned in 2014 that you can't check your elected position at the door. You can't go to the Milwaukee Wiener House as a quorum to have lunch and say, oh, we're just friends. Doesn't work. Once you are elected, you are elected. Same goes for City Council. We've worked very hard the last 2 years to build a relationship with the council. Unfortunately, this Facebook exchange between Mr. Boykin and Rhonda Capron is very hurtful. Rhonda, you don't know me. You don't know me to call me any of those names. I'm sorry. That's, I think it's part of a political undercurrent that's going on and should not be happening. I would like a public apology, number one, and if I can get that, I would like to shake hands and move forward.
I have no problem with that, Mark.
Pardon me?
I have no problem with that. I apologize.
Thank you.
I do.
Let's move forward.
I'm all about moving forward. All I wanted was a discussion. That's all.
Not with those words.
Well, not the way I got called out either, so it goes both ways. But I apologize, I'm sorry. I want to go forward. I think we need to go forward. I also think we need to go forward on the wage thing. All I was asking for was a discussion. And then I got called out on it. What about the newspaper? Would you like to comment on that? What Matthew Young said about me? I mean, so, you know.
If I mean ask. As each of you can appreciate, each of you serve individually, speak individually, and have your own positions. So I have mine. I have my own voice. And so supervisor and saying, what about that justification? Just so you know, we've had 4 different, very long discussions within our county meetings. In fact, contra to some recent editorializing, we had citizen concerns much like you are entertaining right now. Every single person was allowed the chance to speak, and I appreciate you allowing us ours. But those discussions are different than a county mandated task force with the expectation that the county would be doing something that is philosophically a presupposition that a majority of the members do not hold. And so the fact is that we have had multiple discussions. Personally, I did not see an invitation by the Morningside College Democrats with panelists, 4 of whom already were advocates of it, as the most welcoming or opening way to have that discussion. We have had that discussion. So personally, that would be my response. Thank you.
The only reason, and let's get this clear, the only reason that I was at that forum was for discussion. It was not to upset you or any of the county supervisors. The state rep was there. Chris Hall was there. Jackie was there. There was another gal there from the community and me. So we had city, state, county, and a person of the community.
All of whom, and I would never question your motives. I think your motives were noble.
All right. First of all, let me just finish with this. We do appreciate the cooperation we're trying to enjoy, and unfortunately, in these times, we experience a little bump in the road once in a while, and I hope that we all can somehow work for the betterment of all the citizens in our community, and I think everybody's intent's the same. Sometimes we don't do things maybe the way we should. I have to agree with Rhonda. I don't agree with the Facebook page, but, as I told Matthew Young, everybody has a right as a council. I don't have a gag order over anybody. Nobody's going to have a gag order over me. But at the end of the day, we've all learned that social media and newspapers don't solve problems for citizens in the county, I hope. And I hope we can move forward. I hope today is that day. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else to be heard?
Catherine Meyer, 1411 Douglas Street, and I'm here about the property at 1400 Douglas, the apartment building. I have a chicken or the egg situation, and I understand, even though we've put in substantial work to the property, that we can't get the permits, or excuse me, we can't get the bids we need necessarily for the permits and vice versa, because we cannot get electricity on to test the heating, air systems, the hot water tanks, etc. I've been told I need to get my building permits first. I don't know what I need permits for yet until we test those. That property was tagged because of sanitary purposes pretty much. Everything else is new in the building. We just need to be testing it to see if we do need to replace it or anything. And so Suiters I just met with Suiters, and they said, we can't give you a bid on this property until we know what we're bidding on. If we bid that this stuff is good, then you have a bid that's low, and that's not fair to them. I've also gotten the same thing from the electrical and the plumbing companies. So, and I understand from Daryl that that it's still on the list to be demoed, and that it needs to be called back. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm here.
We need to have a motion to rescind the demolition order?
Yes,
Brought to the
and so I
agenda.
guess I'm here to ask the city to allow me to move forward with this project. I think you'd all be happy to know that we already have 2 families that are going to move into this property. And so they would like to get in January. It's one family, husband and wife, with a housewife and 5 children. The other one's a husband, housewife, and 3 children. Something that I'd like to get back into my neighborhood as families. So we're set to go, but we just somehow need to get
Can I make a
everything.
suggestion? You come on Mondays and you have these problems, but you don't tell us so we can have Daryl here to tell us what we got to do.
He told me to come ask you, so I'm asking.
Well, then why didn't you make sure that he knew you were coming? Because this is not fair to me to try to make a determination when I don't have the guy that's.
Well, yeah, I'd say what we need to do is have it come back as an action item to have a motion to rescind demolition and, you know.
Well,
Jeff-
I'm not
Jeff
ready
can
for
speak
that
to it.
until Daryl tells me what's wrong and why you can't turn the electricity on. And I know probably why, but
Well, he can't until there's that rescission.
Most-
Essentially, as long as it's voted demolished, that electricity stays off.
That's correct. Jeff Hansen, Community Development Operations Manager.
no, wait a minute, somewhere in between here, I'm not willing to vote to rescind just a minute, to rescind the demolition order till we know we have a game plan, that we know we're gonna get this house fixed.
Sure, and I think there's another means to do that. Rather than rescinding, we can do a stay of demolition. You can defer it rather than rescinding it as a whole, and I leave that up to Nicole, but that would still leave the opportunity to demo the property if the project is not completed upon. As far as electricity, Catherine's correct that we cannot turn that on until that action is taken. And I agree, these type of tests will require electricity. Obviously, you're checking furnaces and other utilities in the house. So I would agree that needs to be on. So council would have to direct staff to bring it back to do a stay of demolition.
Okay,
So as
here's the deal. If Daryl knew she was coming, either Daryl should be here or Daryl should send us an email telling us what's going on so we know. I'm sorry, but I get a little tired of getting blindsided, not on these issues where I don't know what the answers are.
Yeah, and I apologize for blindsiding you. I'm just,
I know, but
kind
that's
of,
what we're getting here, and so
confused.
you're asking us to do something that I don't even know if we can do.
well, I'm not asking you to do that tonight. I'm just asking for you to kind of walk me through this so we can move
We
on.
need to have Daryl here to walk
Well,
us through
somebody's
it.
got to walk me through it.
Jeff, on the stay of demolition, is she allowed to get a permit?
Yes.
Okay, so you could go that route and
Now
she can
hold
still
it.
get the
Does
permit.
she have to provide the cashier's
Yes.
cash
Yeah,
bond?
you got a
$10,000
$10,000 bond unless council
Yes.
directs otherwise, and also financial means to show the project can be completed.
It normally would require the bond that, the council can waive that, but generally requires the bond and a letter from a financial institution indicating financial wherewithal to complete the
See,
project.
here's what we're gonna end up, if we rescind it, then she's gonna have more time to do what she's doing, and then all of a sudden, she doesn't have a $10,000 bond, and how far do you let her go before you said that we need to demo it?
It will be 10 days. Generally, if the council votes to stay it, we have an agreement in place which requires execution and the cashier's check or the bond within 10 days from the date of the council action. So there is a time frame for which it would have to be completed.
Okay, and may I say something too? I think I gave you guys a copy, and I don't know if you read it, of the tag. This property wasn't tagged because of structural issues. It was more sanitary issues. And most of the mechanical parts of this house are new. So if everything's good, all we're looking at is moving the heating and air to 2 apartments versus 6, and combining the electricity. If they're not working, then we're looking at a whole new, different ballgame.
That's why we need Daryl. We need Daryl here to give us the update
Right.
and what's going on.
Yeah, but if Daryl knew you were here, I wouldn't say that's your fault. We're not blaming you.
No, I'm just saying, but if Daryl, I'm just as critical. If we knew she was coming, why isn't Daryl here to?
I can't answer that.
I can't
wasn't-
either, but I wish if Daryl sent her, I wish we'd all get on the same
Well, I
page.
guarantee you that Daryl would have been here.
I
agree.
know, that's why I'm asking a question.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
If we,
you two get together and you guys come with a game plan for next week, so we know what it is. But can we get an email ahead of time
well, and
explaining?
I would suggest too that we also have an inspector go to the property and review what's been done already.
Okay.
Catherine's mentioned a lot of the sanitation issues have been resolved. And so if the tag did include a lot of those items, we'd like to at least be able to report back what work's been done so far.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what I'm saying, you and her and get together and,
Daryl has come and done an inspection since we had it, because we cleaned it, because the inspectors didn't come because of the sanitary situation. So we cleaned it, and Daryl has been there himself once, but we're more than welcome you to come again and see what's completed.
okay, from my vantage point, don't bring it back.
I'm with you.
Okay, so you guys get together outside, get a game plan going, and
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Council concerns?
I just want to mention a couple events this weekend, or this week, that are taking place that hopefully citizens will respond to. One is Wednesday at noon, the citywide walk. It's in support of the Healthiest State Initiative's annual walk. It's at noon at Tyson. I think the plan is to walk up the Perry Creek Trail about a mile and then turn around and come back, and that just help kind of reinforce our commitment to blue zones and to get people out together, walking and talking. I think it's a great initiative. And then on Thursday, the Celebrating Community Project Phase 2 down at the Martin Luther King Jr. building, our transportation center, where they'll dedicate 4 more bus of individuals who are being honored for their efforts through their lifetime in the city. And that starts at 4 o'clock. I know the first one was really a nice event, and you get to hear from the families. I assume they'll be doing the same thing this time, and talk about their loved ones' contribution. And I just think it's a good way to support the whole project and to get a little more information about our community out there. So those 2 events in particular, to me, I think would be nice events for people to attend this week. So that's all I have.
Good. Thursday is our appreciation pancake breakfast for our city employees, so that starts, I believe, at 6:30. So,
Who took the early shift?
I did.
Good.
I might be there too.
You're supposed to
I'm
start setting
counting
up at 5,
on
aren't
the
you?
4
Yeah,
of you
well,
to
I
come
probably,
later.
I don't want to miss nothing. I think that's the right thing to do.
Because I don't want any lawsuits from spilled coffee here.
No, I'll be wide awake.
So that's all I got.
Last Friday evening, Mayor Bob Scott and I had the pleasure and the honor of receiving from Sioux City Go the Business Ripple Award. And, you know, they were reading through, and I've got it all here, and I promised the mayor we would be out of here by 7:30. But it truly is an honor. Sioux City Go is an organization of young professionals, and they're so dedicated and loyal to the city of Sioux City. And it's a great award that we've received. Previous business award winners have been Century 21 ProLink, Thomson Electric, Canon Moss Brigger, Security National Bank, and Plan Architecture. So we're in good company with the prior year's awards. But as they were reading through some of the examples they gave about what Sioux City has done, I just really want to congratulate Bob Padmore as city manager and the directors and the staff and the employees for really turning around the culture of City Hall, and being recognized by Sioux City Go is a step in that direction. To be recognized in the way we have been with the Business Ripple Award, it really says a lot about turning things around and what we have done in this community. I mean, they started off by reading employees, and these are city employees, participate in an annual United Way campaign, and in 2015 raised over $43,000. Employees participate in a monthly Jeans for a Worthy Cause, in which they make a donation to a local organization each month in exchange for wearing jeans on Fridays. Employees are members of multiple organizations and nonprofit boards, including Launchpad Children's Museum, United Way, Life Serve Blood Center, Blue Zones, Habitat for Humanity, and the list goes on and on about what city employees do. Employees coordinate citywide litter cleanup and river cleanup events. They can encourage employees to become involved in the community and allow employees to volunteer up to 4 hours each month during work hours. I think that's excellent that we've got that kind of a policy in place. They sponsor multiple annual events such as Saturday in the Park, the Big Parade, Mardi Gras Gala, Art Splash, Fall Fest, Innovation Market, Farmers Market, and more. They've taken on tremendous projects such as the type organizations in our community accomplishing their projects such as the Orpheum Theater, Launchpad Children's Museum, Miracle Field, and Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. They work to create and attract events to bring in tourism, spending to increase local business revenue, including RAGBRAI and the NAIA basketball, volleyball, and softball championships. Employees are active participants in the Blue Zones project and help Sioux City become a Blue Zones community, working with local businesses, restaurants, schools, and citizens to increase the well-being of residents. They host Business for Breakfast semi-annually to provide networking opportunities to local leaders while sharing a complimentary breakfast and listening to a guest speaker discuss the latest topics and trends. And all of this boils down to keeping companies coming to Sioux City, the colleges that we need to continue to move Sioux City forward, to make progress so we're not at a standstill. So it surprised me. I don't know when the mayor caught on that it was the city of Sioux City that was going to be the recipient of this Ripple Award, but it surprised me. I was honored by it, and I can't say enough how important an organization such as Sioux City Go is to the success of Sioux City continuing to move forward. So it was a great evening, and I just appreciated it, and I got to see the mayor and
Who didn't shave that day? Who was trying to sneak out right when they started reading the honor and I couldn't.
Yeah. Well, you made the mistake of stopping and talking to me, and I just wouldn't let you go. But I had no idea that was coming up. But really, the list goes on and on. So congratulations, Bob. Thank you for what you've done, and I'm serious about that. You've really turned around a lot of what needed to be done, so that it's a positive, it's a positive environment. It's a can-do environment. The city staff, they don't say, no, you can't do it. They try to figure out a way to make it work. And I think it's paid off with all the activities that are on this list. So thank you. And I don't know where
That's nice.
I don't know where the award went. I think you gave it to Ann.
No, I gave it to Renee.
Okay, Renee. And the city employees were there that evening, and
And Renee won. You mentioned that, right?
We were very well.
Yeah, Renee got an award too, didn't
Renee
she?
won too.
The individual.
Yes.
Yeah, the individual.
So we swept awards that night.
Yeah, Renee Billings. Yeah, it was a clean sweep. So it was a real winning night. So thank you for that. I'm really proud to be an elected official in the city of Sioux City. I'm proud to sit on the city council. I'm proud to serve with our mayor and the rest of you on the council. You know, we have our challenges, we have our issues, but I'll tell you what, we work together. We don't always agree. We didn't agree today, and that's okay, because that's what we need. That's what the citizens expect from us, is to have a lively discussion, a healthy discussion, make informed decisions, and then we move forward. So, thank you so much. And Mayor, thank you for sticking around that evening. You just look like a hard-working mayor. I mean,
You know, on Fridays, I don't really want to work at all day. I try not to even go
I'm
to the
trying to give
office.
you cover here.
Try to not to even go to the office on Fridays, so. And my staff there likes it a lot better.
So I was down at the library on Monday. It was really interesting, doing an interview with Channel 9 about the Morningside project, and it's funny how many people approach you after they see you on a TV camera because they think you're important. So one guy brought up the VA moving to Dakota Dunes and was very concerned about how is he going to ride the bus to the VA now. And I called you, Mike, on that, and I think that maybe we should start some discussions with the VA about how they can pay for bus services or maybe reimburse cab costs for some of the people that now are going to have to find a way to get transportation to the VA. Also, somebody had brought up difficulty in paying utility bills to me. And through email with Joe down in first floor there, he gave me kind of a list of agencies, but it might be worth looking at having it on our water utility bills, the option to help needy, plus 65 struggling to pay their bills, donate $1.50 towards that per month. Or, yes, I'll donate $1.50 towards this to create a fund to help those that may be in jeopardy of losing their, I don't know how you shut somebody's waters off, but
We do.
we do, exactly. And, if you're, plus 65, obviously if you're on a retirement income, a lot of things get crunched with inflation, and I'd hate to see anyone basically shut out of their home.
And, there's other people, 65 is one thing, but you have younger people struggling too, so.
Some
What I
people
always
over
encourage-
65 get a COLA.
What I always encourage residents to do is don't let it get so far behind that it becomes hopeless. If you think you have an issue, call immediately. I think our customer service center is very willing to work with people that are facing difficulty. Just don't get so far behind that we run out of options ourselves.
And I don't know how big a problem it is, but I just know that power bills offer it, and I've known some even cable bills that have offered the ability to help cover somebody's cable costs.
Well, Mid-America has it right on theirs, right? iCare.
Mm-hmm. So I just thought I'd bring that up. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Padmore,
Nothing.
you got that post office box down there.
I know where they're at.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Jordan.
Is that Raddick?
Raddick, sorry.
Okay, aye.
Scott. Caitlin.
Aye.
Gretchen.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
I don't know who else you would have been saying there, but